Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach. Today, I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. Super pumped you're here. It is August 26, 2024, ready to roll. We're still in a do month, making sure you're working your plan, getting things going. You know, it's amazing how fast the years go, right? Now, all of a sudden, here we go. I mean, we're down the last week of August, and we're going to be moving into September. And that means, we're going to start doing some 2025 prep, and we got a lot of things going on. September, we're going to be bringing you a lot of new things, and we're actually working with a new designer, awesome person that actually was with me 14 years ago, built a huge business, and we're working on the new planner for 2025, making some enhancements. I'm bringing in a health section. There's so many good things going on, and obviously, thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do this, and we got just so many great people behind the scenes, volunteering, helping, and it's really community-driven, and it just makes me, it's just so exciting. So let's finish this year strong. Let's get August, September, October. These are great months to get things done, buttoned up, closed up. So as we get into November and December, we can start really working on a 2025 plan that's going to make the year amazing. This year's already going great, but we're going to really explode. Like I just feel the energy, and I want to make sure that some of you that are going through transition have the tools that are necessary to get there. Some of you that are, doing great, let's make sure we make the tools better. And from those that are just getting started, like trying to figure everything out, let's really give you the processes to do that. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And this week, we're going to talk a lot about external validation and self-actualization this week. It's going to be a good one, a deep week. And today we're going to get into this idea of why do we even need external validation? What is it? Tomorrow we're going to finish The Go-Giver. I will announce the next book, which is The Second Mountain. I love that book. We're going to jump into that in September. But we're going to finish The Go-Giver. Go-Giver hit me hard this time. Really did. It's affected my business and my life. And as I mentioned before, a lot of times these book studies, if you read these books, you could read a book 20 times. And a certain season of your life, it means so much more. And that's what The Go-Giver really did for me. So we'll finish that book up tomorrow. Wednesday, we got what does it mean to be actualized? What does it mean to be self-actualized, to be actualized? We're going to have fun with that one. So, can we get there? Is there a feeling? How do we know? We'll talk about that Wednesday. Thursday, we got Ask JB. We've got Discuss, and this is going to be a deep one. We're going to talk about the term enlightenment. We've all heard of that term. Is it something where we got to throw a muumuu on and head to India and live in an ashram? Is that when we're enlightened? We're going to talk a little bit about enlightenment. So it's a deeper week, right? Self-actualization, enlightenment this week. But these are very important topics, especially as we move into different areas of our life. And next month, we're going to get real deep because we're going to talk about the second mountain. Like this, we climb this first mountain, and a lot of us are really climbing our second. What does that mean? So a lot of this is kind of a preface for that as we close out the month, which is going to be a lot of fun next month. Friday, we got understanding focus and motivation other than money. Are there other things that you can do to get you going? We're going to get that going. Dr. Paul has been doing Saturdays great. Loving that. And then Sunday, we got fun and interesting things to do on Sunday. We're going to have just a fun day on Sunday. I figured this whole deep week we're getting into, let's change it up a little bit. So again, a due month, if you're with our plan, you can go up in the compass, check out where we're at, topics and things we're doing. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear if I should change the name of that. Maybe that's too cute. I was doing some training the other day and talking to a few people, and I don't like cute. I like to be just direct. It just makes it easier. There's so much noise out there, so I don't know. I came up with the compass years ago, and it was kind of a cute way to talk about it. It's a compass. It's the direction, right, that we're going. But it might be a little too cute for somebody that's just, hitting us up for the first time. I'd love to talk to you about that in the community. And also, if you have any suggestions or anything that you would like to see in the planner, it'd be great to let us know. All right, let's get into today. Excited about the topic today, and it's really about external validation. So I was very fortunate to kind of be a mama's boy. My mom raised me, by herself until I was probably 9 or 10, and then my stepdad came into my life. A lot of trauma. I'll just be blunt. I have no other way to say it. I didn't see it as trauma. I still don't see it as trauma today. But if I sat down from a psychologist and talked about everything that happened in my childhood, with my mom's relationships, how I never see my mom and dad together ever. I didn't even know they were together. So he would come pick me up I've talked about, our relationship wasn't great since we lost him in March. I try to keep everything positive, but there were many times on the weekend he'd come pick me up and wouldn't show up, and my mom had no money and, used to have to steal food from the cafe. She was a nurse's assistant to bring food to us so we could eat. I don't remember much about that time. I do remember, and that's in that 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old range. I do remember one time the upstairs, they had some fleas. They had a cat with fleas, and we lived below them. I think it was below them, and I was just a kid, like 4 or 5 years old, and the fleas got everywhere, and they bit me all up, and so it was really a really rough upbringing. And I went to school. I went to kindergarten, then transferred schools. I do remember falling off the kitchen sink and smashing my head and throwing up all over school, and then finally got into another school, and I got held back in 3rd grade. I was put in special needs. It was really rough. They put me in a 3rd, 4th split class, and I got really bullied, and then they said I couldn't speak right and put me in special needs. You've heard that story before. And and then I transferred schools again in 4th grade, and that's when my stepdad came into my life, and, they kind of stabled things out a little bit. But it was rough on my mom. It was rough as a single parent in the early 70s. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, when I look at my life, a lot of the validation is to let her know that things are okay, that things are all right, and she did a good job. And I get a little emotional on that because I know how young and tough it was, right? So it's a challenge, and I know we all have challenges, but I think when it comes to external validation, it's just, wanting to show her that I could do something meant a lot. And sorry, because that gets me all fired up and emotional, but that drives me. So sometimes external validation, having approval of others, is not a bad thing, okay? It's not always a negative. And I want to make that a point as we get into that this week, that sometimes, wanting to please or wanting to serve is not a bad thing. I mean, that's the go-giver. I think what happens with a lot of us, though, is because if we have that trait, right, because we've seen suffering and we've seen others, loved ones around us have issues, that we want to do good. We want to be the person that does good. I think what happens is that then we start looking for that validation in the wrong places. And that's what I want you to be cautious of, because I love that you can use it as motivation. But be cautious of putting it out there because you need that dopamine hit, or you need the like, or you need somebody to approve of what you're doing. We want to be independent. So even to this day, I'm very independent. I'm very independent. I still want to show, and I obviously have, so that's kind of gone, but I still have that in me. I still have that little kid that, wants to say everything's going to be okay, and you did a great job. So it's one of those things that we've got to, it's like everything else in life, right? It's a fine line. It's like the fine line between love and hate. There's always a balancing act of going, okay, I want external validation. I want a hug that says, hey, you're doing great, and thank you, but then again, you don't want to have that so much that you're turning into this needy person that, needs that validation. And that's what I see with a lot of people, is that we've got to rise above that noise. And again, the validation, external validation that you're looking for, having the emotional intelligence to be able to step back and look and go, okay, what is important to me? I think that's important too. We've all been through something. Everybody's been through something, whether it's childhood or not. And one of my concerns is that a lot of the youth of today hasn't been through anything. They haven't really felt any pain, and a lot of parents have tried to keep that from them. The pain that I went through as a child is what made me tough, that the person I am today. Tough, strong, mentally strong, can handle so much. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for what I went through. You grow through what you went through. Things aren't so tough, And so when you understand that, you're able to look at the pain and look at the things and the hardships and be able to come out of that. And I think the issue I have with a lot of kids and teenagers and younger people is they haven't had those issues. So they don't even understand what they're looking for. And the external validation they're looking for is more fame instead of that external validation of actually serving and helping others feel good. And I hope that's important, because when I look at this this external validation piece, I do feel I am where I am today because of it. I give, I love, I want to help. I've seen suffering. I've seen single mothers out there, and many of you don't know this, but one of my driving factors for years was helping single mothers, and I still do. It's more philanthropic. We've obviously gone to more productivity, and we're getting a lot of productivity people here because that crowd is a really tough one to build a business around, but it doesn't mean I can't do it philanthropic. But I have a big place in my heart for that, because I understand how tough that was, and I understand the challenges that people face out there. But with that being said, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have that need to go out there and give and be externally validated in that way. But if I was in the opposite side, which there's been points in my life when social media took off and stuff, and my podcast took off and I was top 25, and egoic external validation started to happen, that started to hurt me because I was searching for that dopamine hit of the growth, of the fame. And obviously now we'll talk about Second Mountain next month, but I'm on a different track now, which that stuff doesn't matter. So a lot of the things we do here at Morning Coach are about emotional intelligence. And as I mentioned, a few months ago when we really got into this, is that, emotional intelligence is one of the best skills that you can have. And it's a skill that you can learn because we're observing things that are going on in our lives. And so it might not mean much to you to have a discussion about external validation, but it's gigantic in the scope of things. Because when you look at it, and this is what your homework is today in this week, is to look at yourself and say, what am I really wanting? What do I want from an external validation point? And you can't tell me nothing, because everybody wants something. I don't care if you're the most machismo person on the planet. You still want something. We all want something. And when you understand that, it helps you in your life. It really can help you understand who you are and what you're about. And we're going to get into this Wednesday. It can help you self-actualize, because then you start looking at your internal motivations for external validation. And when you start looking for that, now all of a sudden we can make the changes of why you do what you do. And here's the truth. A lot of this stuff is happening at the subconscious level because it's stuff that you've experienced and conditioned yourself. And again, I'm not a big past life regression guy, but there are times when you need to go to a therapist or a coach. And again, if you've got stuff in your past and you need a therapist, I'm all for that. Just be very cautious of what therapist you work with. But when you look at your whole life experience, there's going to be something that comes up. And that's an important piece in figuring out what drives us to do what we do. It's an important piece in living the life that we want to live. So that need for external validation sometimes is a great thing, but it also can be a big hindrance. And having the emotional intelligence to be able to step back and be aware of what is going on can make a big difference. Because for me, just going up to my mom, giving her a hug and saying, "You did a good job," it means a lot to me. And I'm sure it means a lot to her. And knowing that allows me to have a better life, because that brings joy. And we're going to talk specifically about this next month. We're going to get deep into what the difference is between happiness and joy. And my job is to bring more joy into your life. My job is to help you become more productive and bring you energy, and to really help you find that peace, and to help you down the path of self-actualization. Again, Wednesday we'll get into that into deeper. But today, what I want you to do is we go out there, and this isn't a negative thing, just step back and look at the external validation that you're looking for. And you're somebody that's on social media all the time and you're posting, is it because you want that like? Are you looking for the cognitive dissonance of everybody agreeing with you? It's an interesting journey. And if you're somebody that's like, okay, I'm figuring this out, start looking at other people. Look at your children. Understand them a little bit more. What are they looking for? What is the external validation that you're looking for? Success leaves clues. You're going to see the clues. And if you can figure that out, you can help motivate your children. You can help others in your community when you understand these concepts. These are so much deeper than Morning Coach. That's why, for me, when you do a program like this, and you're involved in something. And I tell you, let's do our ritual. And I didn't remind you this morning, take time self-care, let's coach. I do enough of it, right? But when I say you never know when you're going to get that one idea, it's unbelievable how the ROI can come from just one thing that says, wow, you know what? That's true. And you start making subtle changes in your life because of it. And this one is a big one. It is a huge one as you get to know yourself. So take a little time today and think about your own external validations. And then look around. Just observe this week external validations. And you'll find, wow, this is what really, really works with people. And if you're a manager or somebody that owns a company, you should know with your people, this is critical. This is what can change everything in your organization. To understand why people are seeking that external validation. Okay? So let's get out there. Have a great one. I love you. Go enjoy it. It's going to be a good day. And let's think about our own external validations as we rock on. Okay, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow right here on MorningCoach.com.